The physicality was a positive. We knew that was going to be a physical game with the way those guys play. They're a really good team. They've had a ton of success the last few weeks, and so we knew it was going to be a battle.
All right, well, the Monday morning Saints hangover is not an issue for you guys today. We got a lot to talk about. Saints come into this with their second win of the season now. Tyler Shough gets his second start at quarterback, I believe. Another dominating performance, though the Saints defense played well. We're going to reflect on the legacy, also a little bit of former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, also in his crucial role in keeping the Saints in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. That was a big one. But anyway, let's get over to Fox 8 Saints analyst Deuce McAllister now to kind of break down this game a little bit and talk about what we like about it. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, and Tyler Shough, he wants to keep this job. I know that there's a lot of talk about rebuilding, but what did you think about Shough's performance? I mean, QBR was really high. He had great percentages, 2 touchdown passes, explosive plays, which I think was that was being sorely missed from these fans.
Yeah, I think, when you look at it overall, I think Tyler did a really good job, and it's about distributing the ball to your playmakers, and he was able to buy some time with his feet and be able to get off schedule on a couple of plays. But, when you look at a quarterback, the overall makeup, you want to make sure that, hey, my quarterback isn't the reason that we're not winning games. And, so he was able to avoid some pressure and avoid some mistakes. But even he will tell you, hey, there's some things that I can get better at, whether it's identifying the blitz, being able to get rid of the football, when there's pressure, getting on to the next play. But I thought he did a really good job with his feet and then keeping his eyes down the field.
And some of those deep passes, too, were just very, very accurate. And we're going to look at one here because it really was a huge game for him and that guy right there we'll get into in a second. But I also want to talk about the defense. They've been playing really hard all season long. And, your defense will keep you around in games. The Saints have been blown out a couple of times, but in a lot of these games that they've lost, they've been hanging around, and a lot of that's because of the defense. Yesterday we saw them just stifle a Panthers team that had really started to figure out their identity on offense, but they got held to 7 points. What did you think about the defense?
Yeah, I thought the defense played well, and I thought, for this defensive unit, there was one obvious goal, and that was going to be to take away the run, and that was going to, by doing so, you were going to force Bryce Young to beat you. And so one guy that was outstanding was Alontae Taylor. Here you see him making the hit on the receiver, and, Pete Warner recovers that fumble. But I thought Alontae's ability to be able to hit the hole as far as the blitz was concerned, and then obviously in coverage he comes up with the huge interception. Those are plays that turn a game around, or at least gives your offense an extra possession or two. And so when your defense can play that way, then it makes it a lot easier. And so now the challenge becomes, you're off this week, but hey, what else can we clean up? What can we be a little bit better at? And I think that's going to be the obvious challenge for this team going forward.
I want to talk about Chris Olave specifically because they were sellers at the deadline and they got rid of Rashid Shaheed, so they got worse on paper. Their roster got worse. They lost Trevor Penning, first-round pick. He'd had his struggles, but Chris Olave really stepping up. And that one right there, I mean, just an absolute, that's going to make it on SportsCenter top 10 right here. And for obvious reasons, he got held there. What did you think about Chris Olave? I mean, he's been steady all season long, but I thought this game, he made a lot of these plays look pretty incredible.
Yeah, and he's a guy that has been up and down when you look at this season, and so for him to be able to make some plays down the field, I think this one here was one of the longest receptions for a touchdown that he's had in his career. And look, he's always had outstanding hands, and so for him, it's just being able to lock in and understand that I'm going to get the #1 corner week in and week out. I've got to be available for my quarterback. And so the back shoulder throw here being held, like you talked about, the one-hander, and also from a mental standpoint, listening to him talk after the game, being able to get over the concussion aspect, or at least that hurdle, because this was a stadium last year where he did have that concussion. So for him to be able to bounce back and have that type of game, hopefully continues to build that confidence for him.
Gotcha. Well, we're out of time, Deuce. We appreciate you coming on as always. Going into this bye week, a lot to look forward to, some winnable games. We appreciate you always for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right.